Good day. It is time for our devotional. So, welcome. Hope you're having a great week. We're at the end of the week here on Friday, and it's a beautiful day outside here in Nova Scotia. It's a beautiful day. We're just looking forward to this spring weather. It's so nice, isn't it? Anyways, I hope you're having a great day. Let's take a look at our scripture verse. We're in Proverbs chapter 5, verse 9 today, and we're just going to look at that together. Just a reminder, in case you haven't been in the other videos or you have been watching, may have not watched for a while, we're working through chapter 5, which is talking a lot about the idea of fidelity in marriage and being true to your wife. It's written to a young man to be true to his wife, but it's of course transferable to men and women alike, and it's also transferable to other commitments in life. But it specifically talks about marriage in this chapter. And as we work our way down through the verses, it's making its point. It's trying to drive it home that here's what you need to do: stay true to your marriage vows, your marriage commitments, and don't follow the seductress that would lure you away, the adulteress that would lure you away from your wife, and you'll end up with regret. And this whole middle section of the chapter starts leading into this idea of the regret you'll have, and of course, regret's a terrible thing, isn't it? And so these couple verses are just leading into that. The verses that follow are going to be even more focusing on the idea of the regret that you'll end up feeling. But here we are. Verse 9 says this. So don't go to the adulteress, or you will give your vigor to others and your years to the cruel one. So that's one of the consequences. If we go into infidelity, then one of the consequences is you give your vigor, your strength, your youth. This word vigor, it's used as a way to talk about these ideas of the strength that and so coupled with this next sentence, which says your years, is this idea of you'll give your youth, those young, vital, vibrant years of your life, you'll give them away to other people. You won't get to have what you could have had, and the others are, well, the cruel one. So it's that. We'll come back to that in a minute, but that's the idea, and that's the first kind of real warning of, like, think of the regret you will have. You'll end up doing something you will end up regretting. And this is the thing about infidelity. It causes regret, and not just infidelity, but other things too. Whenever we fall into sin, it leads to regrets. Because one of the reasons is, now in particular with infidelity, you think about, you have you're married, and so in this context, there's a young man. He's married to his young wife, and they're living together, and they're building a home together, and doing whatever. But then he gets lured away, and he goes into infidelity. Well, there's no taking that back, right? That when you've done that, it's done. There's no taking it back. You've given it away, and that's how the regret occurs. Is there's no let's just try it out. There's no test driving. It's done, right? There's no reliving your past. You can't go back and make a different choice, or retrieving your youth, right? The years are given, that vigor is given. And so there's no retrieving the youth and taking it back. And that's why regret is a thing that occurs, because you will feel later like, I wish I could go back and relive that. I wish I could go back and make a better choice. But you can't. Now you can learn from your choice, and that's good, but the damage is done. And that's the warning here. See, the way God designed marriage, and God is the one who designed marriage. The way God designed marriage is that a man and a woman will come together, and ideally, though not always, but ideally in their youth, that it will be something from the youth. And there's various places in the Bible that make reference to the vow, the covenant of youth, like that these young people come together as they enter that stage of life with hope and optimism of the future. They come together and they form a bond together, a bond that is covenantal, it's promises, but also a bond that becomes emotional, intellectual, identity, everything. They become one flesh, right? The man leaves his father and his mother, and he cleaves to his wife. They become one flesh. And so ideally, this is meant to happen in the younger years of our life, and then it becomes a lifelong process of that bond being made, and then tightening and forming and being better and stronger throughout the life. And ideally, God's design would be that be a lifelong thing, that for the rest of your life. And so you have someone to grow old with. And that's the idea. Now, this doesn't always work out exactly that way. Sometimes people get married older or whatever, but that's the idea. That's the design. And then also out of this comes typically comes children, right? To this solid, solid bonded pair comes children. And then those children are raised by the cooperative efforts of these two people who bring two sides of a coin to everything and show, the female and the male side of the thing are meant to work together to raise those children, show them what a good adult is, show them what a good person is, show them what a good relationship looks like, and is meant to model all that and help those children to rise up and become that, so that they themselves someday will be able to get married and do the whole thing again. And it becomes this foundational structure in a healthy world, and that's the way God designed it. So when we break that bond, that gets hurt, right? And there's no going back and unhurting it. It's hurt. Infidelity breaks this ideal, and you can't unbreak the break. You can, with God's help, heal. You can heal. You can bring about healing and rebuilding. And I've seen it. I've seen marriages that were on the edge of divorce that, with God's help, they really did. They came back together. They bonded again. But even then, you can't unbreak it. It was broken, and so now there's a scar. But you can move past that with God's help. You can. But it's awful hard. And the better course is to never break it. Is to instead live strongly and stay away from it and don't ever do it. And so this brings me back to the words there in the text, giving your years to the cruel one. That phrase, the cruel one. You think about what cruelty is, right? Cruelty is an uncaring maliciousness. It's like, I want to hurt you for hurt's sake. That's what a cruelness is. That's what cruelty is, right? Hurting you for the sake of hurting you, and or being completely unconcerned about your feelings. But even more so, there's a maliciousness to cruelty, and so who's the cruel one? Well, I would say one very obvious thing would be Satan. Satan is definitely a cruel one who hates you and wants to hurt you, wants to destroy God's good world, all of the creation, his desire to destroy the environment, his desire to destroy societies, to destroy people and marriages and everything. He's just so cruel. And in a way, I think this certainly can be referring to Satan, that Satan would love nothing more than for you to destroy the good intention God has for your marriage. To destroy that, to cause you hurt, to cause your wife hurt, to cause God hurt, to hurt as many people, and then could cause your children hurt, to cause society hurt, and cruelly so. And that's what will happen when we give over to that. We're giving our youth to him to cause cruelty to me and all who are in my life. And so it's really awful. Now, it could refer, the cruel one could be others. You could say maybe it's the seductress who doesn't really care about the damage she's causing. She just wants to have you for the fling or whatever. She's cruel and that she's uncaring. So maybe that's who it's referring to. But whoever it is, either way, it doesn't really matter. The person doesn't care. Like that person doesn't care about the harm caused, and you later will care about the harm that was caused. And so the Proverbs are telling us, just stay so far away from that, because the lure into sin it always looks good, right? There's always that honey dripping off the lips that just says, oh, sweet things. And it always looks so good. But once you've fallen into it, it always causes regret, and you wish you didn't do it. And those young years of your life are so valuable. So if you happen to be a young person watching this today, really want to encourage you, because in those young years, you're still learning the self-control. Just honestly, you're still learning how to master it. Let this be part of your thinking, and just think, okay, yeah, I'm going to believe these older guys. There will be regret, and so I don't want to go down that road. And just remind yourself of that, so that you'll stay solidly true with the place God designed, and you won't have regrets. You won't have regrets from that. You may end up going through struggles, but you won't end up with regrets, because you'll see that, hey, my life was all right, and man, but for the grace of God, I could have gone down a real bad road, Anyway, that's the teaching for today. God bless us in our efforts to do this. Protect us from the cruel one. protect us from our own failures, protect our marriages, and everyone who ever watches this video, protect their marriage and help them to find a good way. And if anyone's having trouble, God help them to solve the troubles in their marriage rather than to destroy their marriages. Pray this in Jesus' name. God willing, we will do our next devotional on Tuesday, going into verse 10. So have a great weekend, and God bless you. Don't forget the Lord's Day. Give God all the honor you can, and just enjoy your weekend. God bless.